Afternoon everybody, it's Connor here from Belfast. Thanks for joining us. This is our second episode of Fact Friday, which takes place a building or an event within Belfast. A little bit of history and trivia about it. The day in Belfast. This guy's probably in his element, but I am not, so I want to get some shelter, which is why we're going over to Sailortown, the historic area in Belfast. I'm going to visit a very, very special church called St. Joseph's. So, Sailortown, sorry about there. The Sailortown is a very historic area in Belfast. It's where people worked on the docks, where sailors came in to stay, where a lot of working class residents of Belfast lived. So, unfortunately, a lot of the area was demolished in the 60s and 70s, and that's part of the Belfast Urban Regeneration Project that happened around the time. There's still some remain. There's two churches left, one that we're going to visit. There's a few bars and there's a few original houses. So the church we're going to see today is St. Joseph's. It is deconsecrated in 2001, which meant it wasn't being used anymore, but there's been a steady effort from local community to get this regenerated again over the past few years. Over here, I just wanted to point out the Rotterdam bar. So this has been open since the 19th century, and it was actually slated for demolition in 2008, but I'm glad to see that somebody has bought it, so hopefully it'll get regenerated in the future. Mainly covered that because I know Mum and Dad were very, very keen in that bar, so they'll be quite pleased to know that, so shout out to Mum and Dad. We're going up to St. Joseph's now, and as you can see it's quite different to the stuff that's around the area now. Like, there's not a lot of the original buildings. That's the American bar over there. It's quite a popular bar around town, but yeah, beautiful old church, and I can't wait to see inside what they've done. As you can see behind me, there's quite a lot of work going on in this church. That was thanks to the efforts of people like Terry McKeown I'm meeting today. She and others helped raise £30,000 last year to try and get this building restored. Here with Terry McKeown, and she's part of the Sailortown Regeneration Fund for St. Joseph's Church. So hello Terry, how are you? Can you tell us a wee bit about St. Joseph's Church and what you're trying to achieve here at the minute?
Yes, St. Joseph's Church has been closed for 18 years since it was deconsecrated in the year 2000. People in Sailortown had a very strong campaign to try and keep it open at the time.
In the future, what do you sort of envisage St. Joseph's being again?
Well, we hope to get it open as a community centre and hope to run events in it, music events, poetry events, film screenings, but most of all to have activities in the community.
Go have we look around in the actual church itself. So are these original doors then here? They'd be, yeah, they'd be all the original ones there. So really, really cool old doors. So point this out, Terry. What is this exactly?
It's the Holy Communion font.
Okay.
Basically, you see the candles here. We've forgotten our lighter, but we can light the candles here for the Sunday morning prayer group. Sunday morning prayer group meet here every Sunday at 10 o'clock on the steps.
That's great. Point here, Terry.
These are, this is a column which fell off the spire.
Okay.
It's a granite column which fell off the spire and it caused a huge hole in the church just over a year ago.
Okay.
Basically, this time last year we got minor repairs done to it. That was in March, but then in May this column fell off the spire and caused a lot of damage, and we had a dangerous building notice put on us. That's
when obviously the community sort of got together.
We started a campaign then really to get proper repairs done in the church. We've now got them done. Now we will need a restoration grant to get the whole church restored.
That's when obviously you walk into the main building here, and it's quite impressive the work that they've done so far. 30 grand wasn't it last year you guys raised?
Well, yes, 30,000 for the external repairs that was, and then we had to get more then for the internal repairs.
Okay.
The exterior was just really to get the make sure that nothing was going to fall off the top of the spire and fall onto somebody in the street.
Okay. I'll show you a few pictures later on, but the before and after shots are amazing here, so it's great work that the Sailortown Regeneration Fund has been doing on this, and hopefully it'll continue in the future with your help. So where are we walking to now, Terry?
We're going down now to look at where St. Joseph's altar would have been.
Okay.
St. Joseph is the name of the church, St. Joseph's. So watch you don't fall over that cable.
Oh yeah, jeez.
Here, you can see the letters on it. This is some of the original kind of paintwork that was one of the features. So it's STJ, St. Joseph. This would have been St. Joseph's altar.
And they're all original?
They're original, yeah.
Pieces, yeah.
I don't know if you can make this out here. This is a frieze which went along the whole way along the wall of the church. Now, some of the work we had to do really was, this was all lime mortar and it all had to be taken off and basically to let the walls dry out because there was so much rain coming in.
Aye, Terry.
These ones here, Connor, are the Marian altar.
Okay.
This would be the altar to Our Lady.
Okay.
And really, you'll see the M there with the crown and the fleur de lis. That this altar here would have had a statue of the Virgin Mary, and then so really these are again.
We replicating them, is that right?
We want to replicate them. I asked, we made very sure to keep them because it is a listed building. It's Grade B. But we're working with a group called Belfast Collective, Household Collective, and they're going to replicate these, and then we will put them back on, hopefully along the walls. This is the gallery up here. This would have been where the choir sang. A lot of the old choir boys that would have remembered that. And this is the clock here. I can't remember the name of the lady who owned it, but basically that has stopped for years, but we are going to get it going again when we get St Joseph's open properly. Some architects' designs done by the University of Ulster architectural students, which kind of, particularly this one here, walkways around the top, so we're hoping eventually to put a couple of floors in, like here, to keep the space, to keep the height, but basically to have... This here is what we're about, reconnecting Sailortown. We want to reconnect Sailortown back into the city centre, but also back into North Belfast.
Okay.
And to do is we would like to recreate the old ferry route across to the other side of Belfast, over to East Belfast, in particular the Titanic Centre, by getting a bridge built across the river. Because I'll tell you, there were years ago, people would have told you, the people who lived here would have told you that whenever the men were coming down to work in the shipyards across the river, they would have walked down through Sailortown. You could hear their hobnail boots on the cobblestones, and then they would have got the ferries across to work in the shipyard. Going across the river would make a huge difference to particularly North Belfast, Taggers Bay, York Road. It would give people the opportunity to go straight across. Instead of having to go into city centre and then going across Queen's Bridge, they would be able to go directly across the footbridge. The bridge is there's a walk and cycle trail through here, so if we have a bridge, it means that people will be able to come down straight down Duncairn Gardens, up from York Street, join in, go cycle across, walk across, and go straight across over to East Belfast. And I think the people over in DC pews here, these are two of the original pews from St Joseph's. We're going to get them cleaned up. They're a bit grubby looking at the minute. We're going to get them sanded off and use them for events. Okay. The church, as if you'd seen old pictures of it, had some beautiful artefacts in it. Unfortunately, whenever it was closed, the church took everything away, including the marble altar, the Stations of the Cross, and everything else. So this is what we're left with, two pews. What
about the stained glass windows then?
Yeah, this is quite dark at the minute, as you can see, because it's been covered over with netting at the back to stop the kids from breaking it. But you see a dedication up here, pray for the deceased souls of Sarah and Mary Cole.
Yep.
This one at the top, you can see the light coming in through that. You can also see a small hole there. The pigeons were coming in and out of that, but we'll be getting that fixed eventually. The kids broke that with slingshots.
Oh dear. See, also we've got some ambience music here, so hey. So we'll hopefully be getting that live music going in the future once it gets all fully refurbished here too.
External and we've got internal done, but what we really need to do is get a full restoration, including the roof, which is, as you can see, is very bad condition.
About how much you probably will need raised in the future. How much is that figure again, Terry?
Probably need a couple of million.
A couple of million.
I think, well, really what we want to do is turn it into a centre which showcases the whole history and heritage of Sailortown. We've been down to Epic Museum down in Dublin, which is a digital interactive museum telling the story of the Irish diaspora from around the world. We would like to put something in that for Belfast, showing real people's stories. Houses in the small streets, who worked in the shipyards, who worked in the local industry, and who worked on the docks. You see the statues up around the top. You can see this one in particular, there's a lot of green mould on it. That's from the rain coming in over the years. But I mean, I think these statues are quite spectacular. Eventually we'll get them cleaned up and we'll get them only just got in the last couple of weeks. So that's the lights for the stage.
Yep.
These are the strip lights.
Yeah.
And then we also have smaller set up and down lights, basically uplighters, which actually take a minute or two to come on. It's just so fantastic to get light back in the church. Professor Liz Thomas got done for us. She works very closely with us. She's Queen's University and ran an archaeology project down here where she had people and local people down digging to see what artefacts were left from the old streets of Sailortown. If you look here, you'll see where all the small streets were. So you'll see here, it was built in the American style, straight lines. You can see if you zoom in there, all the very small houses. There were 5,000 people lived down here at one stage, up until the 1970s. This is what the church looked like this time last year before we got work done to it. So you can see the way the walls peeling.
Yeah.
You can see the rain was just basically flooding in. The altar's all broken. Had those repairs done in the last year. This is Sailortown Church taken from the side. You can see how close the boats came up. We have also have pictures of men operating rafts on the river. This is from the very early days of the church. This was St Joseph's. You can see how close it was to the water there. You can see the old sailing boats. This is an old picture.
Yeah.
St Joseph's the patron saint of workers, and this was a church for seamen. Houses. This is Kelly's Spirits here. There were loads and loads of bars in Sailortown. I can't remember off the top of my head at the minute, but this is some of the old houses that were here as well. You can see the old 2 up, 2 downs.
What original bars are remaining within the area then?
The only bars left were the Rotterdam and Pat's Bar, closed down within the last 5 years. They were quite well-known pubs among everybody in Belfast. The American bar has reopened up, and McKenna's is still here. These here are photographs. We have loads and loads of photographs of people from the area. You can see here altar boys who would have been in the church. You can see a wedding at the church here. And we have loads more photographs of people from around the area from Sailortown. Sailortown community. The building of the motorway basically cut Sailortown off from the town. There was also changes in work practice, the decline of industry. It meant that many people left in the 60s and 70s, but there's still a very, very strong community spirit within the ex-residents of Sailortown. A lot of work done over the last year, but we do still have a couple of drips in here. So you can see there's still a bit of rain coming in here. Now we're hoping over the course of the next few months to get the money to get that restored.
Okay. Yeah, you can see down here there's quite a lot of water still getting into the place, and that's with a lot of work done on the roof already. So with your help, and if you keep a track of the page on Twitter and Facebook and everything, help them out the best you can. So that's our second episode of Fact Friday done. Thanks for joining us, and hope you enjoyed it, and thank you very much to Terry McKeown for showing us about St Joseph Church. Really do wish them all the best. It's an incredible project they're doing to restore that church. It's such a big part of Belfast history. Gonna wrap this up for today. Keep an eye on the St Joseph's page on Facebook and Twitter, and hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.